Hello and welcome. You tuned to the Leg Up, your weekly thoroughbred preview show, but it'll be our last week of the Leg Up for a little while. Off to the spelling paddock for a freshen up, Steve, and not before time, some might say.
I think the viewers will be quite happy with that, Thaddeus. Just give them a little bit of a freshen up, but look, hopefully we'll come back bigger and stronger in the new season with some extra segments.
Yeah, we'll have a freshen up and get some new stuff in there and make it pump it up a bit.
Yeah, hopefully. A little bit of cash in behind us doesn't help.
Now, last weekend, Devastate, firstly, was an impressive win. Raced, up or near the speed and got the job done. Strong.
Yeah, the Open 15, Devastate, got the job done, was well backed. I think closed fave in the end. A performance rating of 90, Thaddeus. That's not a PB overall, but it is the highest performance rating by Devastate on a heavy track, so that bodes well for the winter. And Zayla, when you normalise all the performances back to weight for age, hit a 91.6, which happened to be the strongest over the last 7 days.
Yeah, it was money for Zayla too, so they obviously know. When it got that heavy track, the money was coming for Zayla, so that'll be one to follow for sure. The Champagne Stakes, Steve, taken out by a roughie in all fairness, Dean Wild's trained Southern Warrior. Yeah,
Southern Warrior, 84.1 I gave the juvenile. The winner average since 2017 has been 89.05, Thaddeus, so you work that in lengths this season, or the race that's just been held 7 days ago, was roughly around about 2.5 lengths inferior, below the average, so take what you want out of that. I'm not sure that's the form where historically it has been, notably the winners from the championships, championship stakes has been the likes of GG Phoenix, Sharp and Smart only a few seasons ago, Quick Thinker who went on to win a Sydney Derby. So look, there may be one or two that come out of this year's edition perform well as 3-year-olds, but I'm just a little bit sceptical about the overall form line.
Okay, and the other horse I want to mention, Mary Shan. Couldn't have done much more. Talk of potentially going to the paddock. Gee, be tempted to maybe just push the boat out and maybe go to Queensland. It's been a long season for her, but she was very good. Yeah,
I don't mind them going to the paddock now off that. I love a horse that finishes their campaign on a high note, and she got the job done against a lower grade of horses that she'd been racing against in the last 4 to 5 months. Look, a performance rating 89 bang on. She had the race to suit. They went out fairly strong, I think roughly 7 lengths above open class to the 600, and she was profiled 6th outer, and look, big margin against the rest of the field. There was an improvement from her Rotorua Stakes where she hit 86.9, but you look at those 2 PRs in her last 2 runs in the Rotorua Stakes and last Saturday, it's still roughly around about 3 lengths off her PBs, which she was hitting around Christmas New Year period in the 8 Carat and Live-In Classic. So no doubt she's better on a firmer deck, but I like how they're spelling her on top, and they can bring her back knowing that she left in good note.
Yeah, absolutely. She certainly did that. Now, look, no Paul Maoate in studio. He's a little bit like Carmen Sandiego, Paul Maoate. Yeah, come in, Paul. Where are you? I think we have you. Good morning.
G'day, Thad. G'day, Steve. Yep. Speaking of finishing on a high note, it's something that we'll be trying to do today. Highly unlikely, but looking forward to it anyway. Yeah, I'm with the punters. I'm keen for a break. Keen to head to the paddock. And come back fresh and revived next season in the spring.
Yeah, no, well said, Paul. We will certainly do that. Well, let's head to Hamilton. We've got Brendan Popplewell on deck. Morning, BP. You bring the energy here. Up the Wars. How good were they?
Wow, yeah, a very famous victory. 2 weekends in a row we were talking of famous victories from the Warriors, and now they can have themselves a break, a little bit like Paul, who's looking for a break himself, another one. But anyway, we'll certainly talk more about that in terms of when Paul is keen to come back and not have a break. But what a weekend it was. We had those races you spoke about, and it was a very wet weekend out of Pukekohe Park, so a chance to probably really dive into that form and use it as a reference over the next couple of months. And of course we're back there again this weekend where the track conditions are going to be wet, and of course where our feature racing will be out of the River City, so you're keen to dive into that form.
Yeah, okay, we're going to have a look at 3 races from Whanganui, 1 from Pukekohe, but before we get to Maiden of the Week, BP, just want to have a little review. It's time for a review of how Maiden of the Week's gone, some races you've pinpointed, some horses you've pinpointed over the last few months for us.
Yeah, sure. So we found a sort of a top 6 for our Maiden of the Week wrap. And we're going to go to the very first Maiden of the Week that we had back on the 18th of August, where it was a race that was won by Antrim Coast. Of course, he went on to finish second in the New Zealand Derby. He was a race winner in Australia as well, and he ran with distinction in the South Australian Derby. We had in total 6 winners out of that race. Multiple winner majors won 3 races. Marketplace, Key Largo, the Diviner, all other winners in that race. Here's the Lupo Solitario Maiden. Of course, Lupo beat Orchestral in a bone crusher. You've got Glamour Tycoon, who was a listed winner, won twice. Mary Shan was in that race also. And Road Cone, who's won 2 races in Australia recently. So that was the Lupo Solitario Maiden. The next maiden we want to show you is the Group 1 winner in Molly Bloom. This is her winning her maiden out of Taupo. Boy, she exploded when she was 3 back the rail. Cosiasano spied the gap and she was too good. Of course, she's on a path towards the Group 1 Queensland Oaks for next Saturday, but already a Group 1 winner of the 1,000 guineas. Here's a good one, December, back at Tauranga on the 4th of November. We've seen 5 winners out of this race. December winning again, Part-Time Lover, Mars, La Ruche La Mesquita, all winners out of the December maiden out of Tauranga on the 4th of November. Another one we want to show you where we had multiple winners, and this is our best one, and that being the Vera Rose Maiden. Vera Rose has won again, along with 6 other horses out of this maiden race. Therapeutic, Pukana, Cast of Diamonds, Nakaya twice, Inspired by Art, and as I said, Vera Rose winning again. There have been a number of other very good maidens, and this one potentially could be on that Group 1 path too. And this is Scarlet Oak winning her maiden most recently. Of course, was picked up off the back of this victory by Aussie Kerr and has ended up in Chris Waller's stable. Very good in the Roses and is now the favourite for the Queensland Oaks next weekend. As I said, there's a couple of other notable mentions in there. Adam I Am was on the same weekend as Molly Bloom. We made that a notable mention. There's been 5 winners out of that race. The Sharp Dress Man Maiden out of Tauranga, 5 winners out of that, and also the Chorse Maiden at Tarapa, where we've seen 5 winners also out of that race. So yeah, just a nice wee condensed wrap on Maiden of the Week.
Yeah, he's got an eye for them, people. I heard Aussie Kerr tapes the show, watches and makes most of his buying decisions off the back of Maiden of the Week, Steve. He's got an eye for it, Pops, hasn't he?
Doesn't surprise me.
Yeah. BP, we don't let the standards slip ever on the leg up, so what about Maiden of the Week this week?
Yeah, I'm missing my cut, if that's the case. But anyway, let's get to the Maiden of the Week. Boy, this horse was impressive. Wow, watch this go. Who knows? But we might want to be watching this over the next couple of months. Just surges around horses here and takes off, wins by 8.5 lengths. Look, the trials were good coming in, and this just might be one over the next couple of months that we can keep some tabs on, go to the next level. Maybe won't be too much of a problem here from who knows with this demolition job out of Woodville. So very good win, and one to mark down for the winter months.
Yeah, 100. She would be on the back. Beat the class rating there, Steve, as well. So
yeah,
not just on the eye.
Above the maiden class by Redwood. So you'd think naturally a mile and a quarter will be its friend. That was first up over 1,600 metres. And like BP alluded, it was a well-backed commodity on the back of some really impressive trial wins.
No, that was a super impressive one to follow for BP before we have a little break on the leg up. Okay, as BP alluded to, the major racing coming out of Whanganui this weekend, Steve. Before we get to race number 7 on the card, I want to talk about weather and track conditions.
Heavy 10 Thaddeus, no surprise. I've just had that showers on and off in the last fortnight or two. Look, the rail goes in the true position, being a feature meeting. There's the odd shower forecasted tomorrow afternoon. Today's okay if you're watching the show live, but look, I doubt there'll be an upgrade just with the low side of the temperatures around the North Island. So heavy 10, rail back in the true position for our feature meeting tomorrow.
Okay, the heavy 10. Pops likes that because we can play the form. Let's start with race number 7, the AGC Training Stakes, weight for age over the miles. Steve, run us through this market.
Defending champ just asked me a bit of sense of timing about him, but we'll talk about his chances in more depth in the next 5 to 10 minutes. That is 3:30 we posted on Wednesday when betting commenced, now under $3 flat, and accounts for roughly 85% of the hold when it comes to race 7. Turn the ace at $4.50, Ballardo Boy $6, Bradman just in a slight turn there, 7 on Wednesday, now 6.5. Lightning Jack drawing the ace at 7.5. Royal Flower on the quick backup from 7 days ago at 9.5. And then there's the second division. Intriguing runner here, Enchanté Lace, the 3-year-old at $16. And best of the rest is Liffey at 19. So look, overall summary, outside Bradman being a slight firmer, it's all about number 1 and Just Ask Me.
Yeah, okay, BP, we'll come to you around Just Ask Me. Yeah, fair to say a flashing red light potentially here around the favourite.
Oh, yeah, I think plenty saw it and plenty knew which direction he's heading to, and that's this race to defend his crown. He gets a lot of things in his favour, doesn't he? Look, this is a stronger race than last year. That certainly has to be noted. He beat 5 other rivals last year, but he just seems to be in a really good spot here. Look at him really charging through the line over the distance of 1,600 metres. That was a soft 7. He gets to a heavy 10. This is the effort last year, 12 months ago, when beating Hacksaw Ridge. Now, of course, he drew barrier number 1 in this race, and of course we get to Whanganui and we always try and work out patterns, and this is one track that we know that once, if they are getting to the outside fence, that it's all about getting to the tyre mark. So the rail is in the true position from its last meeting where it was out 4 metres. So does that mean that there's going to be that better ground closer to the rail initially? It's going to be a real fact-finding mission just on how that track's playing for a heavy 10 surface as we get throughout the day. You're going to know by race number 7. Look, either way, he's a horse that gets back and he likes to circle them. On that occasion, the Drew 1, he just cut underneath him and he was too good. He looks awfully hard to beat because they've set him up ready to try and go back-to-back in this race.
Yeah, gee, that run last start, that had a lot of people talking. Paul, I want to come to you. A slightly different form line here around Turn the Ace and Bellado Boy, last time out behind Arisha Rish at Te Rapa. Turn the Ace coming off a win first up into a third here.
Yeah, and I thought it was very, very impressive here as well. Not far off the leader. So I guess if Just Ask Me is going to have any challenges, of course the defending champion, Just Ask Me, but only beat a very, very small field last year. This time in, has a few more challenges, and I think Turn the Ace is one that you really, really have to factor into your numbers.
There's no doubt. I just want to talk about Bellado Boy, Steve, quickly. Quite short in this market, around $7. Just second up into this. Got down on the inside there. Quite short, I thought, Bellado Boy, but the best Bellado Boy would be competitive here.
Yeah, I reckon he's one race behind to where he needs to be peaking. He's only second up. He was first up at Te Rapa and was well and truly beaten. I just feel he's one run behind to where he needs to be measured against this field. As BP said, this is a strong addition of this year's race. If you go back to the previous 2 or 3 races, in particular 12 months ago when Just Ask Me beat a small but selected field. Yeah, I reckon he probably needs to find at least 3 lengths to measure up to what is in that top 3 performance rating from his Te Rapa first up run. So if you believe he can improve significantly, and like I say, 3 lengths from Te Rapa to Saturday, then he can be in it. But I just feel he's one race behind.
Okay, we'll stay with you, Steve, because I want to have a look at Bradman here, who's in a rich vein of form, to be fair. And this was a tough one at Trentham.
Oh, look, he's one of the more consistent gallopers going around in the CD, Thaddeus. This was a tough effort only 7 days ago. He had the lump to 57. Jim Chong was on the right horse, veered out when led to the outside. You'd have to say the best channel in the home straight. And he was very tough. Like I say, he had to carry the big weight. And the second horse, Spells Echo, is absolutely flying. So I think it's a good form reference. And I talk about the consistency. His last 4 runs, he's hit 91, 90.6, 89.7 and 91 and on all different tracks. Like I say, Trentham, Otaki and also Te Rapa. So he's tractable on all track conditions. He's a beauty. If he can hit that low 90, which he's averaged in his last 4 runs, that's good enough to clearly finish in the top 3 or 4. And I'm not saying he's without a winning chance, Bradman. So, look, I think from that draw, that sticky draw, there's enough room for Warren to show some intent and put him in the race like he did 7 days ago at Trentham. I'm not saying he'll lead with Turn the Ace in the race, etc. But if he can fit in the first 3 or 4 a little bit of cover, he's definitely a winning chance. As we say, being 2-3 wide on speed might not be an inferior zone because we know Whanganui on a heavy track, the wider you get coming to the home straight is advantageous.
So, got Bradman in your numbers, BP, or anything outside of Just Ask Me we haven't mentioned here?
Look, I think there's a couple of other course specialists that are worth mentioning. I certainly have Bradman in the mix because he's in that right vein of form. He comes here with up and running form, so he has to be in your numbers. I sort of looked at Liffey and Shanti Lace as outside chances. Look, Shanti Lace it's 3 from 3 here. Of course, you've only got to go back to the horse winning a Castletown last year. She's coming in with a trial performance, and Liffey was placed at the trials recently behind Bozo only on Tuesday. Both of those horses come out of the Foxton trials, but Liffey comes out of a trial from Tuesday. They're both 3 from 3 at the venue, and Whanganui, Rotorua, they're at the top echelon of horses for courses stats, are they not? Because they're just unique racetracks. So for that reason, I think they have to be respected, the 9 and the 11, if you're playing same race multis.
Yeah, okay. Paul, any other numbers outside of Just Ask Me who has tickled your taste buds here, or you obviously got a little bit of time for Turn the Ace?
I do. It's just very hard to look past Just Ask Me. Of course, every race at Whanganui this Saturday is an odd surge, so you can currently get Just Ask Me at $3.40 on the odd surge, and that's enough to attract my attention.
Yeah, okay. So you're Just Ask Me on the odd surge here?
Yes, please.
Steve, will come to you for your final thoughts on the race and selections. Do you have Just Ask Me on top? The way you're talking, I'm sort of leaning to suggest you think this is quite a competitive race.
I do. I think that $3 price will hold up. I know it was $3.40 into $3 in the first 48 hours of trading. But look, interesting enough around Just Ask Me, if you go back to his preparation this time last year when he won this race, his 4 runs leading in, he was rating on average 87.8. This time he's 84.7 on his 3 or 4 runs this time. And so on lengths, he's roughly around about 1.5 lengths off what he was this time last year when winning. And as BP said, it was an inferior race last year. So, but that's why you're getting the better price. I think he was odds on 12 months ago in this corresponding race, and you're getting $3 here. But I reckon there's enough in the race to hold up that price if you like the favourite, even though we've taken a truckload of money. That said, I'm pretty keen on Bradman. I just feel he'll be in the right place in the top 3 or 4, a little bit of cover. Warren Kennedy, strong jockey. This horse is just consistent, and I've spoken about that in the last 5 to 10 minutes. So I'm pretty keen, and I think he'll start closer to $5 than the current $6.50, $7 price. And just quickly on Shanti Lace, has there been a busier horse this time in? 13 stakes races she has contested in season 2023-24.
Okay, it's a good stat. BP, I want you to have the final word here around who you like in the race. Paul's with Just Ask Me. Steve suggesting Bradman's the bet. We just want you to summarise it and bring it all together for us in the AGC training stakes.
Yeah, I find it hard to go past Just Ask Me because of his form coming in. He was terrific last time behind the stablemate Islington Lass. He races well here, so he gets the wet track conditions that he likes. We know that he really excels in that 8, 9, 10 bracket when it comes to heavy tracks. So I've got him on top. I have huge respect for Bradman. I think there's a chance where you could play a Just Ask Me to win a Bradman top 3, top 4, same race multi, and then I'd look to go again and try and add in a Shanti Lace. I think Shanti Lace is maybe that roughie that you need to include somewhere in trifectas and first fours as well.
Hey, I got a lot of faith in you. I'll stick with you, kid, that's the bottom line.
Lance O'Sullivan Award time. The last Lance O'Sullivan Award for the 2023-2024 season, BP. Make it a goodie. Who have you got?
Yeah, I've gone a little bit different here because I've gone with Sean Fannin. Boy, is he not doing a job as a trainer. Wow, he's really excelling there, but also as a jumps jockey, as we know, and aboard West Coast. What a horse West Coast is, and what a ride from Fannin, because he didn't panic. He was in a position where he was trying to get in, and then he just let those others go, and he was able to slide back. He was maybe sort of third last at one stage there when those horses in front of him, but he just cut underneath them all and he just saved all the best possible ground with the weight he had. It was a masterful ride aboard an incredible horse. So I think we're very lucky to have a horse like him and the Cossack again going around for another season. These are a couple of jumpers that will be remembered for many years, and West Coast delivered a dogged performance aided by what I thought was a gun ride once again from Sean Fannin. So the LAO award goes to Sean Fannin with his win last week in the Manawatu steeplechase.
$3.50 into around $2 too, BP. They didn't forget to back it. And
wow.
How good's Sean Fannin going as a trainer, and Hazel Chauffeur, as you mentioned, a couple of winners at Trentham?
Yeah, doing an amazing job. They're both terrific horse people, and they deserve all the success they get as well. And that's the reason why we're seeing Sean in a more limited role as a jumps jockey. But boy, he's still be able to do it, and I'm sure he's going to have some more fun coming up with West Coast this season.
Yep, no doubt about it. Won't be the last time we see Sean Fannin saluting over the next few months. Okay, team. Race number 3 on the card is the John Turkington Forestry Limited Castletown Stakes for the 2-year-old Steve over the 1,200 metres. Run us through this market.
They're pretty keen at the pointy end of the market here. Thaddeus First Gear, another horse that's quickly backing up from Trentham last week. Opened $3.60, been backed into $3.30. And Bellardi from barrier 1.5. Got as short as 4.60, just back out a slight turn to 4.8. Outside that, Canello's been well supported, 8.50 and a 7.5. Kind of Blue's been specced in that middle market, bouncing between $14 and $16. But as you can see, there's at least half a dozen in single figures, so quite a compressed market.
Yeah, okay. Let's go to the favourite here, BP. It took a little while to break through, 3 starts, but gee, when it did it pretty with a bit of authority.
Yes, and is on that back up from the win last weekend, but was super impressive. A horse on the rise, up and running form, getting through wet track conditions. And you'd expect a similar type of performance coming into this race tomorrow, up and running with Lisa Allpress aboard. And we know that Lisa knows every blade of grass here out of the River City. So he's done it on the clock and he's got the barrier draw to try and find that position. It's an early race. So with that rail in the true position and that fresh ground from the prior meeting, as I said, there's 4 metres of fresh ground closer to the rail, so that could be a good spot to be before they do look to start working away from that position. A lot of things in his favour to say he's going to be hard to beat.
Yes, no doubt. We had that rate on the clock, the favourite, Steve. Was it all right?
Yeah, no knock there. No knock there. And, takes bad luck out of the equation, doesn't she? Look pretty professional. He looks pretty professional, which is important for 2-year-olds on off tracks.
Yeah, okay. Paul, I want to have a look at Canello at its last start, getting over the top of Rosire and Bellardi at New Plymouth it was. Got Canello anywhere in your numbers here?
Yes, I do, Thad, yeah. And I thought Canello, along with the other filly, Rosire, was super at Taranaki last start. They let down very, very nicely over that last 200 metres. A big positive for Rosire. Senior jockey jumps on board this time, and Michael McNabb. And in behind those two was Bellardi, who sort of seemed like he needed the first up run and would probably need to improve. Well, he certainly did that, and I think we're going to see a replay of him improving big time next start.
Yeah, we certainly are. I mean, there was money for Bellardi that day at New Plymouth. Steve started quite a short price favourite and then came out at Taupo the next start and did what they thought he was going to do at New Plymouth.
Yeah, maybe the fraction better track at Taupo, but got the job done. And we know juveniles can improve race by race significantly, and that's what Bellardi did. First up to second up. Craig Grills led on this occasion, got away with some cheap furlongs mid-race. Bourbon Proof, you see there for Stephen Marsh team, loomed up at the last 100, 150. But Bellardi was strong late. It was a decent win, considering I got a lot of respect for the second horse in Bourbon Proof. Look, barrier 1 on Saturday. Look, he led at Taupo, Bellardi. I don't think he gets that lead here. BP's already mentioned that First Gear, Lisa Allpress, I think they'll come across from a wideish gate and sit in front and find the paint. So there's a couple of options there for Craig Grills to just either take the trail or come off heels and sit outside First Gear. But look, of note for the breeding buffs, Bellardi happens to be half relation to Moonlight Magic, and we know she is contesting against the boys in the Derby in Queensland later on that afternoon.
Okay, speaking of Bellardos, I'm seeing a lot of them. They obviously relish the wet tracks.
They do.
Bellardos.
Yeah, you look at their strike rates, good surfaces, dead surfaces. It's inferior when they hit wet tracks, there's no doubt. They love this time of the year.
Okay, I want to have a look at the first starters, BP. I want to start with Archipelago for the Peter and Dawn Williams team. Speaking of Bellardos, here's another one.
Yes, and a runner that does have the breeding to suggest that she will handle it, as you mentioned, by Bellardo, but also going through the family. Look, this horse is a half to Flaunting. Flaunting won 2 races, one on a soft, one on a heavy, but is also a half to one of my favourites, and that being the Real Slim Tradie, who's won 2 on a heavy and 1 on a soft. So there's some breeding through the family that does suggest that they'll get through the heavy track conditions. That was a nice trial. It sat 1 by 1 and was able to pick up those horses and show a good bit of stretch in the concluding stages. On not a heavy track, yes, it was a soft surface there that day at Avondale, but very professional. If you go back to the very first trial, it was a very quiet trial, just tucking in behind them. So both trials from her have shown enough that she can be competitive here with Warren Kennedy aboard from that awkward barrier draw of 10. So they've got to try and slide and find a position with that runner. I know we're going to show another trialist as well, and this is the one I'm sure that has got a lot of tongues wagging. He's Lucid. Wow, what are we going to see here from KT Myers? I hope a winning interview, like we saw last week anyway from KT Myers. This is a horse that is very, very dangerous in this race. This was Tuesday when running in a trial, and it has dead set got the handbrake on here out wide. It's already moved in your markets, I've seen. KT Myers with a first up 2-year-old with his money for it. Alarm bells.
Bevan, congratulations to Bevan Sweeney too, BP, as you mentioned, getting that interview with Kevin Myers. Never thought I'd see the day that KT Myers makes it back on track. So was it Stacey Jones back in, I don't know, it must have been the 90s or something. So it's been about a 25-year hiatus, Kevin Myers, and I know Bevan was high-fiving himself on the back of that. Have we seen some money for He's Lucid, Steve? What's the word here around it? Because we need to know whether we get on, because Kevin doesn't need to be introduced to anyone watching this show.
Yeah, 10 in the 750, Thaddeus, so a lot of money has been invested on the first strategy. It'll be a great training feat. It's probably one thing that Kevin Myers hasn't achieved in terms of a trainer. I think he's only produced 4 or 5 juvenile winners, but a black type 2-year-old, I don't think it's on his CV quite yet, Kevin. So, look, on the eye, you've got to be impressed, but gee, it'll be a good training effort to get a horse to win first up on sticky track conditions in a stakes race against race day pros. So, look, he's one of 3 debutants. He's lucid and on the trials, so he's definitely got something about him. You'd say naturally that $7.50, $7 price might ease on race day just purely because he is the first starter profile, but you've got to respect that. And just back on Bilardi, I did mention Craig Grill's riding it is in fact Joe Doyle this time.
Oh, okay. You talk about that pattern around first starters, particularly in 2-year-old races on heavy tracks. I mean, they tend to be a little bit soft late. That is the pattern.
100%. Even on firm grounds, you normally see them just a little bit lukewarm, but definitely on wet tracks, you'll find them ease. Not a decent margin, but considerably off their quote at the start of the day. So, look, there's been initial money, and everybody likes punting a first starter, just word of mouth, what they've seen on the eye. You just don't know what you're punting into. It could be an absolute star. So there is that element. But when it comes to the business end, you get the pros investing on race day form lines, etc., which sorts their algos. Then these natural first starters tend to drift. Okay,
who have you got on top in the race? Give us your final thoughts here, and who's going to be winning the Castletown this year?
Tricky. Look, I'm pretty keen on Bilardi. I like the performance at Taupo. There was no knock, and even though he was beaten by a couple of race rivals 2 starts ago, I like the improvement he made from first up to second up. He's with the right camp. He should get the right run being early in the day. You can either trail, sit outside lead with Joe Doyle. So, look, it's not a confident lead towards Bilardi, but I am quite invested in these first starters, see what they do in terms of at the back end of this season and maybe early doors 3-year-olds. But at the moment, I'm pretty keen on race day 4.
Okay, Bilardi for you. Yeah, look, if these 2-year-olds are firm or firming again, these first starters, then you really would sit up and pay attention, wouldn't you?
100%. Yeah, they're going against the trend, which is pretty keen to take note of.
Okay, keep an eye on that. Paul, anything else you like in the Castletown? Final thoughts? Who are you backing? Run us through it.
First of all, great to see Kevin Myers back on the tally, as your boys mentioned. And yeah, I'm sure the alarm bells are going off when Kevin Myers, juvenile, moves from 10 into what, 750. So where there's money, there's usually a bit of fire, a bit of smoke. But I like the look of the Tony Pike filly, Resiah. I like the way she finished through the line, and I think Michael McNabb jumping on is a huge, huge plus for backers of Resiah. So drawn 8, so we'll probably get to the outside fairly easily as they turn into the straight at Whanganui. So yeah, Resiah for me. At the odds, I'm happy to take it.
Yeah, nice, $6. A couple of $6 shots. Maybe Kevin Myers could be our first guest on the leg up next season, BP. We get Mark Wells to organise that for us. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm sure he can. He's a very good producer, is our producer of the show, and Mark Wells. Look, I'm going to go with the Dummy Myers runner here. I'm just going to fair dinkum have a crack at it. It's $9. So that's on the odds boost. So you can have your first $100 on the odds boost at $9, and then you could then try and work your way around it. You could sit and wait. As Stephen said, this might have already hit its limit in terms of where the price is sitting at $7.50, and you might even get a little bit more on the odds boost. You could play the waiting game. But I think this way, play the $9 now on the odds boost, and then try and find that next runner that you're most wary of in the market. And of course, that can't be on an odds boost. It can be just on a flat-out bet, and it might be possibly a first gear of the way that the horse won last week. But yeah, I just can't let that slide. And there's enough coat pullers telling me out there that this horse might be all right.
Yeah, VP is smoking fire, man, and I think we've got 3 different tips in the Castletown Stakes this year, so a tricky race for the 2-year-olds on the heavy track. Okay, race number 2 is the next race we do want to have a look at, team. It's the, speaking of the odds surge, it's the Te Abbey odds surge. Every race at Whanganui, 1,200 metres for the open handicappers, Steve.
We will rock. Punted off the map last start at Trentham, didn't quite do the job for the punters, but $2.80. We posted $3.10 on Wednesday, Thaddeus, and holds 2 times more money than Bold Bell, who's been quite static at $3.80. Old Town Road, just a bit of sense of timing around this horse, second up now at 6.5. She is that third line with Durham Ladd and also Caitlin's Wish. Make time also resuming for Lisa Ladder at $8 and Tavi Court at a $13 price. So look, overall summary again, they're pretty keen on We Will Rock, back around a bend at 2.8.
Yeah, okay, here's the race replay of We Will Rock and Bold Bell BP at Trentham last start. And look, upset the apple cart to some degree, did Bold Bell this day.
Well, she did, and she got in front of both We Will Rock and Babylon Berlin, and really dictated the race on the others. She had that weight relief on them. And again, you've got to also bear in mind that there's a weight swing again on We Will Rock. I mean, it's another 1.5 kilos, isn't it, that she gets in her favour off the back of this victory. So she's going to be awfully hard to beat. Yes, I think We Will Rock going around a bend is going to be helpful because the horse did this, beating Bold Bell back on the 27th of April, when getting to that front position from barrier number 1, where Bold Bell was back and wide and still ran a terrific race to run into 3rd position. So that's what you've got to marry up. Can We Will Rock get the position he wants to be in compared to where Bold Bell got to last time out to the races? Yeah, look, we know that he's just, I think, just that better horse going around a bend. He showed that there last time. It's a hard one. It's a hard one to marry up, isn't it? Because you've got your pros and cons on both of those performances we've seen from these 2 horses at their last 2 outings where that they've gone toe-to-toe.
Yeah, how do you weigh them up, Paul? Because are you a believer in We Will Rock going back to Whanganui will be the trick, or do you think Bold Bell can do it again?
Look, if I'm leaning one way, I'm probably leaning the way of We Will Rock. I thought that was a huge effort last start for the second. If I'm looking elsewhere, look, I don't mind the look of Caitlin's Wish. She'll absolutely relish the heavy going. I love the form line coming into this one as well. This was a super second last time out to the races at Pukekohe. Look, only has to carry 52 kilos. There's a lot of positives there for Caitlin's Wish. So, yeah, I don't mind her. But if I'm looking for a winner, I'm going to stick with We Will Rock, I think.
Who's that down on the inside in the red hat there fading out of it, Paul?
Oh, stop it now.
What?
Yeah, I think Steve might know.
Synthetic.
What are we going to do with winning for all? Just as a total segue from this race, of course.
Yeah. Well, that was a 4th for all, wasn't it?
4th.
Yeah.
Yeah, true. We ran 4th.
4th for all.
Yeah. Stake money for that. Back to the synthetic, maybe for winning for all, Paul. Do you think?
Yeah, I think it's the way to go. Synthetic champion.
Synthetic champion, yeah, okay, very good. We'll see him next time on the synthetic. Look, talk Caitlin's Wish, Steve, first, because the win prior was very good, and that was a gutsy effort there at Pukekohe last time.
Yeah, I think that's the best branch of form line. Go back 2 starts ago when it won at Whanganui. Interesting enough, it was on the same meeting / card as what We Will Rock won, both at 1,200 metres, and if you normalise it to weight for age, Caitlin's Wish needs to find 3 lengths to beat what We Will Rock produced on that day, so that is a slight negative. Just on Bold Bell and We Will Rock. Bold Bell,
please.
Obviously she's a mare in form. That was a PB at Trentham last start. Notably, all 4 of her highest PRs have been at Trentham, so she really does relish the shoot. And if you look at her top 3 performances, it's been on a soft 6, a soft 7 and a good 4. She definitely regresses when she hits that genuine heavy track, which we're going to find on Saturday, so that is a slight concern around Bold Bell. Look, I don't think they'll lead. I think Jonathan Riddell will lead. He's drawn inside Bold Bell. He'll look to do what he did 2 starts ago, around a bend. I don't care if this horse runs 36 flat on a heavy track for the first 600. He can sustain a strong tempo, can We Will Rock. So I think he's the horse to beat at 2.8. I've got him a slightly shorter than that 2.8, but yeah, and I agree. I think at the moment, I'm not saying he can't be a shoot horse, but right now, figures, data, etc. are telling us he's far better around a bend.
Yeah, that's 2 times he's done that at Trentham as well. So, yeah, I think I was
one
on
of
the
them was early in the
first time.
preparation, so there was benefit of the doubt around a horse that was first up. He's going to improve second, third up, and later in his preparation, that was spoken about from the camp. But look, he was ready to go. There was no excuses last start at Trentham. He just got beaten by a better horse who's absolutely flying, like I say, on a worse side of soft down the chute and Bold Bell. But I just feel for Saturday's assignment, I'm leaning towards We Will Rock. If you want to take that insurance play, I think these two do stand out, We Will Rock and Bold Bell. I'd be happy to back We Will Rock outright winner, but also just a slight insurance and a genuine Quinella between the two.
Okay, of the first up runners here, there's a couple of them. Tavies Court, Make Time, Durham Lad in the race. Look, haven't seen a lot of money for any of them at this stage. Anything to mention there around those first up runners?
No, I'd be wanting to see what they do. I don't think this is their race, knowing that you've got a couple of hard, fit horses that love 1,200 metres and have been performing at strong PRs. So, look, if one of those first starters get up, I'll be losing. There's no doubt about it, but I'll be just keeping an eye on what they do late. The big improver happens to be an Old Town Road. He was a bit of a flashing light and a sense of timing second up, but yeah, I just reckon he's wanting 1,400 metres against Bold Bell and We Will Rock.
Okay, yeah, it's interesting. So you're with the 2 favourites here, but sounds like We Will Rock on top. Paul, final thoughts here. Steve likes the 2 faves. Have we got maybe some sort of same game multi or blended bet or something of the like? Who have you got on top in the sprint?
Yeah, I do like We Will Rock. I think Jonathan will get to the front, dictate terms, and just might get away from them as they turn into the straight. But I've got a place for Old Town Road. He gets down to 58 kilos with Ace Lawson Carroll aboard. I like that first up run. Look, I agree with Steve. I think probably 1,400 metres is more ideal. However, I think that he can run a bit of a race here and can slot in for a top 3 or 4. So yeah, We Will Rock on top with Old Town Road and into that top 3 or 4 market.
Yeah, okay. $8 on the odd surges, Old Town Road currently pops. Final thoughts here. What have we missed and how are you betting into this race?
I like the thoughts here from Paul around Old Town Road. I think he is a big improver. He did run second on this day last year, and that was over 1,340 metres when he did run second. And he has won second up with 60 kilos on a heavy surface, which was last preparation. So he's second up tomorrow, and he has 58 kilos with Ace Lawson Carroll. He likes wet ground. He likes the venue. I think he is a great play for a same race multi. Whatever you're taking in terms of your top selection, if it's We Will Rock or Bold Bell, I think he's a nice one to throw in as your second selection for a third or a fourth option, somewhere along there. I think he can run a big race second up. I'm just with We Will Rock. I've been bouncing between We Will Rock, Bold Bell, but with We Will Rock, he can get to that front position, get around a corner. They look to be all good factors for him going close again here in race number 2.
Yeah, okay, We Will Rock on top for BP. Just sounds like it's on top for Steve. Justin, Paul's thrown Old Town Road, as is BP to some degree in race number 2 there, the open sprint. We're going to have a look at one race from Pukekohe. That's race number 5, Steve, but before we get there, let's talk weather and track conditions. I'm waiting for this drone footage. We're not going to get it, are we? No drone footage.
Similar to Whanganui in the CD, currently a heavy 10, rail out 4 metres from last Saturday. But partly cloudy, a chance of afternoon showers on race day, so that will definitely keep it in that heavy 10 range. I doubt there'll be an upgrade.
Yeah, okay. No surprise. There's probably not going to be an upgrade at this time of year. Let's go to race number 5, Steve. This is a nice rating, 75 here. The Elsden Park 1,400. Let's have a look at this market.
Yeah, punters have decided we had a fraction wrong. Wessex swindle through 4.8 each of 2, but they've spoken with their wallet and they've backed Wessex into a clear favourite early doors at 4.2, as I say, off a peak of 4.8. A little bit of love just in a purple patch of form in that third line at $5. It's a charm deal at $5.50. Aquarello got the punters home last start at Tadapa at $6.50. Then you got the second division, Kakadu at $10. Amazing Grey's interesting runner first up at $11. Jack in the Box, similar profile first up, the Amazing Grace at $16. Digger at $19 will relish the heavy track. He's not far away, and Just a Tipple, the ranking at $21. So the best lead I can give sits round number 2 in Wessex.
Yeah, there's a bit of form to delve through here, a lot of winning form as well, BP, but this is actually Wessex running 5th last time in the Rotorua Stakes. Fair to say this is a drop in grade.
It is, and of course 12 months ago Wessex was able to win this race as a 3-year-old filly, where she was very, very good. I thought her effort here suggested that she's not far off the mark to winning here. Second up, we've seen her win in a second up state beforehand. She doesn't mind the venue. Of course, a race that always springs to mind was the Craig Zaki ride aboard Wessex in, what was the race, in 8 Carat. Of course, put that massive margin on them. Legato somehow won that race, beating Skewiff. So Legato beat Skewiff, and Wessex finished into 3rd position on that Boxing Day meeting. So she's a very talented mare. She's a horse that should take that ride improvement, and the wet track conditions will be no issue for her. Tristan Moodley's got a terrific book of rides there tomorrow. Trainers are really identified him as a jockey over these next couple of months with his 3 kilo allowance. That will quickly go down with the rides he's got tomorrow and the amount of winners he could rack up over the next few weeks. So I think the setup around Wessex looks like a good one.
Yep, no doubt about that. We'll love the track conditions at Strikes. Look, talk about form in the race, Paul. Here's a horse bringing a fair bit of form in. It's a little bit of love, and we could pick any one of its last 3 starts. I think this is the last start there on the 18th of May.
Yeah, as you say, Thad, very, very hard to fault the form. I love the Son of Time test, and he's been working through the grades very, very nicely. He showed a wonderful turn of foot this time to win at Te Rapa. Ngako Haley has ridden him before. He gets a 3 kilo claim, which just sets him nicely up, and the weight's down to 57.5. Look, it's very, very hard to make a case against a little bit of love. Love's the heavy going. Lance and Andrew will have him absolutely fizzing, I think. So, yeah, I love the look of a little bit of love. And I expect him to add another 1 next to the 3 ones he's got in the form line already.
It was quite soft on the line too, Paul, wasn't it? I mean, it did it pretty easily down the outside, and jockey had the audacity to almost sit up there on the line.
Certainly did. And obviously, he's got a lot of ability, a little bit of love. So I hope that we see a lot more of that ability this Saturday, and we snap up the $5 and walk to the window.
It sounds like Paulie's pretty keen on a little bit of love to make it 4 out of its last fall, Steve. A horse that'll be trying to stop that happening is Swindle. And this is the last start win from Swindle in a rating 65 at Rotorua.
Yeah, I liked her this day. She found the perfect position. Billy Pooney rides on Saturday once again from a wide gate, came straight across, and these two dominated basically the race shape. You see there, 37 change to the 600, well below open class. They've run home a strong 34 and 65. So look, some of those horses in the neutral back end of the race had no hope, but I thought it was a pretty good win from Swindle nevertheless, and I can see this 4-year-old mare positioning in a similar map. Obviously Wessex will lead. I can see Swindle from barrier 5 being in that stalking position. And Digger's the interesting runner in terms of a map. Drawn barrier 10, I think Kelly Myers will show some intent around this horse. So either that or he might be in a similar mode to what he was last start in no man's land, being 3 wide covering ground. So from barrier 10, if they show a bit of intent outside Wessex and Swindle, there doesn't look to be a huge amount of speed in that chasing boat. So I think Digger can be an improver. It's the first time we've spoken about that on 2 or 3 runners this show. Horses striking a genuine heavy for the very first time. They've been running at Te Rapa for the last 6 odd weeks and been striking those 7s, 8s, pentrometer readings. So just look out for those horses that are going to improve on that genuine heavy surface, and Digger could be one of them. And that might be the question mark around Swindle, and also a little bit of love. There's no doubt he's found a happy hunting ground at Te Rapa on those 7, 8 pentrometer readings. There's been a lot of favours in those wins, even though they've looked spectacular on the eye. That horse has drawn wide gates off strong tempos and finished down the right part of the track in the home straight. So, look, he's got to be in the calculation a little bit of love, but just take note, he'll be hitting a heavy track for the very first time. He just needs to reput that Te Rapa form line.
You liked that Swindle last time, didn't you, too, when it won at Rotorua?
Yeah, just thought on the race shape, there didn't look like much speed, and a lot of people were put off by the wide gate, but naturally I don't mind wide gates on horses that like to put themselves in a race. I don't think it's that much of a negative. Where barrier 5, look, he'll map in the first 2. Senior jockey, look, they don't need the claim sitting on the minimum 54.5, so it's stepping up to 75 grade off that 65 win. But yeah, I'm not diving
as
in
big
deep
in this time,
on Swindle this time around because it's a deep field and there seems to be some nice horses here. But yeah, Swindle, and I'm just keeping an eye on Digger. I don't think he's that far away. I don't think he's that far away.
A little bit like Zayla last week, getting on that heavy track for the first time. The money arrives and you're not far away. Last race, replay BP, we want to have a look at is Aquarello. Winning last time out. We're talking about winning form. It's everywhere here in this race.
It is. And again, it's that reference of going from a Te Rapa heavy 8 to what we have on the weekend, where it's going to be about as genuine heavy as you can get on Saturday. So she moves from a completely different track condition, goes up in grade. But what she was doing leading into this is she was building. She was a horse that was unlucky the start prior, just getting better with every run. So can she go to the next level again tomorrow with conditions that are going to be a lot worse than what she did face there out of Te Rapa? I think the second horse in that race, Kenny Mann's actually probably a follow for the race meeting itself. I think he'll be a horse to look out for. I think he's in the early part of the day with track conditions that will be suitable for him. It's a little bit trappy, this race. It has that trap feel about it. I think another horse we need to mention is It's a Charm Deal. Now, he is a runner too that his 2-year-old form is very good when he won a Ryder Stakes, of course, in testing conditions. He hasn't had those conditions yet in his 2 runs back. They've both been 7-rated tracks. He gets to a heavy surface where he's 2 from 2 on heavy ground. I expect him to be a very sharp improver heading into this race tomorrow. Sam Weatherly was expecting, he was fairly confident. I spoke to him leading into that race day that he'd run a decent race because he went well first up. I think those track conditions bring him right into contention for tomorrow, so don't leave him out of your numbers. It's a Charm Deal.
How does he get that geriatrics form line back in again? Somehow pops. That's incredible work from him. Okay, Paulie, last final thoughts here on the race. Who have you got on top? Who are you having a bet on?
Well, I think I may have made my intentions clear a little bit earlier on there, Thad. Number 1, Little Bit of Love. I'm hoping that we get another one next to the 3 1s. He's got in the form line at the moment. I think the biggest danger will be Wessex. I think I see there's been a wee bit of money for Wessex already, but Little Bit of Love for mine.
Okay, Steve, final thoughts here. Who are you betting in the race?
Yeah, I think Wessex is going to be awfully hard to beat with that claim. So look, she's on top. Swindle in conversation, like I say, Digger, I think he's the improver. Not sure if he's a winning chance on Saturday, but I think he'll have a bit of a flashing light going forward.
Okay, Pops, final thoughts. How do we attack the race from a betting perspective?
I think Wessex with form on the track and genuine heavy track form next to her name, there's a lot of good reasons why you want to have her on your ticket. I do respect a little bit of love. Well, you have to. I mean, the horse is in winning form. It's just that transferring, as Stephen said, going from a Te Rapa heavy to what the heavy track's going to be like. But he looks like he's got something about him at the same stage, doesn't he? He gets 3 kilos off with Narco Haley. And the one I want to be following out of the race is certainly It's a Charm Deal, 3rd up with genuine heavy track conditions.
Foreplay time on the leg up for another week. It's our last foreplay for the season, obviously, and look, we probably want to have a little bit of a review. I've seen these numbers. I'm a little bit disappointed, and we won't mention what happened last week with the foreplay. We got to the last race. You boys had done your job, and I'd let you down. Let's have a look at the strike rates here. It's probably where we need to be looking. Oh, Steve, we're 77%, 78% on the foreplay. BP second, 65.79 pips me. That's been my poor performance in the last month. That's got BP over the line there ahead of me. And Paulie strikes at 1 in every 2, but his average price is a little bit high. So he brings us spice, does Paul, let's say that. He's out there at $1.89, everyone hovering around $1.50. Steve had 16 foreplays in a row. That's incredible. Well done, sir. And yeah, Opie Boston like strike rate there at 77. And Paul had the 6 highest price winners, but we've already mentioned he's a man of spice. Look, we had $939 for a foreplay, was our biggest return. Hope you played along there when we got that one home. And we also got one home at $583.24. And on that day, every horse won. So yeah, it would have been a lot more than $583 BP. We're not horrible, but maybe we've got to improve into the next season. Pops, what do you reckon?
Oh, look, there's always work-ons, isn't there? When we go away, and we'll, we'll have maybe have a gathering and a meeting to be able to decide on what our work-ons will be. That'll be at the top of the list.
Yeah, Paul, anything you're taking away from those stats?
Well, what the stats don't tell you is we've all got to get it right on the same week. So sort of like a gold medal winning synchronised swimming team where we're all on the same sort of page. I think that's what we've got to work on. So if we get down to the pool and have a little bit of get a bit of team bonding going on, well, I think we can knock out a few more of these 4 plays in the new season.
Team building, Steve.
I'd rather go to the viaduct than the pool, but that's all right.
Yeah, okay. Let's go out with a bang, team, with our 4-play this week. Head to the TAB Facebook page, play along with this week's leg up question, which is your favourite Queensland Derby winner. You could be in to win this $100 bonus cash multi with your first selection. BP, where have you gone?
I've gone to Just Ask Me, and Just Asked Me to run top 3 at $1.45. Of course, defending champ of the race. He looks like a really strong prospect heading into it, so we'll go with him top 3.
What about you, Paul?
I'm going to Whanganui, race 2 there, and I'll give Old Town Road a big chance, and I've taken Old Town Road just to finish in the top 4, and we're getting $1.40 for that. I think that's a wee bit of value.
Yeah, I'll go first race at Pukekohe for the 3-year-olds over 1,200 metres. Pukuru Gold, super impressive when resuming at Te Rapa a few weeks back. Always respect the unbeaten galloper, 2 from 2, Opie Boss, and there's a lot going for this horse. Heavy track, slight question mark, but I reckon this horse will get away with it on class and being race 1. I think that's fairly important. Win at $1.55.
Okay, and I've gone Pukekohe race 5, the race we just reviewed, and I think Wessex will hold on at least to run in the top 4, if not win the race. Top 4 at $1.40. That multi could return you $326 if you're the lucky winner off the TAB Facebook page. And if you're playing along with the last 4 play of the season, I really genuinely hope we can get it up for you. And let's forget last week's poor performance from me. Okay, best bet time on the leg up. And here's the season's best bet review, Steve. And look, you're all in profit. That's what we can take away from there. And the rank outsider has saluted here for the season. One Paul Maoate strikes with 1 and 3, almost as well as you guys, but $4.60 his average price of his one, a 44% ROI, Steve, for one Paul Maoate.
Yes, helped by a $26 shot. Take that away, he's probably clear in second there. So, oh no, I'm just trying to work out reasons how he's managed to finish on top. To be fair,
Paul, any secrets to your success, please?
Yeah, well, I guess if we take away all of Steve's winners, he finishes at the bottom of the pack. I mean, really, come on.
BP, final thoughts there around best bets? You got out with a win, mate. That's the main thing.
Yeah. Look, strong finish. Very poor through the middle part of the season, though, and that certainly is a work on. That's on top of my season review in terms of best bets. But yeah, a couple of nice finishes there, and hopefully trying to finish it strong with our best bet this weekend as well. Yeah,
okay, absolutely. We'll try and finish strong with our best bets. Before we have a look at what we've got for this weekend, we want to have a look at how we did last weekend.
I do like Johnny in race number one out of Pukekohe Park.
Yeah, I'm with BP, with Johnny as my best, doubling up there. Early proceedings at Pukekohe.
Johnny out deeper from Winning for All. It's Highlighter in front at the 100 metres, drawing clear from Caitlin's Wish. Johnny and Winning for All and Highlighter. Highlighter will take out the first in the hands of Tristan Moodley. Second over was Caitlin's Wish. Third, Johnny.
I'm going to head to Doomben, race 8, the Group 2 Roses. I love the look of the Group 1 winning, the 1,000 Guineas winner, Molly Bloom.
Scarlet Oaks in front. Look at Miss Jolene down the outside. Next the inside there of Mount Buller. But in front, Scarlet Oak near the line. And Scarlet Oak has won from there of Mount Buller. Miss Jolene, followed by Our Gold Hope. And then we had Molly Bloom.
It's what we call a duck egg, lads. Any thoughts, Steve? Johnny.
An ugly watch. It was game over after 100 metres watching Johnny. But he will keep. Yeah,
no doubt he'll keep. Paul, Molly Bloom, do we back her in the Oaks?
Oh, I think so. I'm looking to make some money back. Yes, indeed.
Okay, BP, let's get to your best bet of the weekend. We're going to finish with 3 from 3. I just know it. What's your best bet of the weekend?
All right, well, I'm going to go swinging for the fences here, team. I'm going to go for Mr. Poochie in the last race. He is currently at $9.50 as my best bet. This horse has been screaming out for a heavy 10 track. He was very good last time to the races, and even prior to that, when he was running home on a soft 7, he was very good through the line. Tristan Moodley, there's that name again. He gets 3 kilos off. He's at $9.50. Happy to have something on him in the last at Pookie.
Yeah, he's everywhere at the moment, Tristan Moodley. He's on Wessex, who I've got in the 4 play, and so he's going to have a big day for you, Pops, and Mr. Pooch can get home. Paul, best bet, please.
I'm going to go to Whanganui, race 5 for me, and I like the look of number 4, IGG. Look, I was super impressed by that fresh up run for 4th last time out. Just finished off very, very nicely. Look, the track conditions will be fine for IGG. It's got a wide draw, so Joe Doyle will be able to come down the outside as they turn into the straight. Really, really keen on IGG. Currently around $4.60. Don't forget, with the surge, you can get $5.50 at the moment.
Lovely, the surge. Steve, your last best bet for the leg up season, please.
You'll go to the lucky last at Whanganui. Who's complaining? Who, as you see here, was a winner last preparation, but resumed a few weeks ago at New Plymouth, over 1,400 metres, had to cover extra ground, 3-4 wide, facing the breeze for the majority. Drawn a better, or a far better draw the gate this time in. Who's complaining? So, look, I think stepping up to 1,600 metres, benefit from that first up run, remains in 65 grade, strikes a heavy 10. I think he's a good bet at roughly around about $7.
Yeah, okay. Gee, I'm going to take the multi. I'm going to take the place multi and the win multi, boys, on your best bets, because you've got to go 3 from 3 on our last show. Promo time, Paul. What can we ever look forward to this weekend? I presume we've got. There's bonus back, Paul.
Yep, we sure do. Bonus back at the first 4 races from Pukekohe, Caulfield and Eagle Farm. Of course, that's 2nd, 3rd and 4th. And you get it up to $50 in bonus cash. Just check out all the T's and C's, the TAB website. And of course, the odds surge every single race this Saturday at Whanganui. That's a maximum bet of $100, but you can get one on every race at Whanganui.
Okay, yeah, it's a very good. The odds surge proving very popular. Bonus back runners, we're here to help with some suggested bonus back runners for the weekend. Pops, what did you land on?
I didn't mind Wolf Rayette, actually. It's in race number 2. Bounced out of the Queen's Zoo maiden race. Was pretty good in that race and gets a heavy surface. So race 2, Pookie, Wolf Rayette.
Paul, you've gone Dells Abeil, the race 3.
Yep, that's right. First starter, but has been trialling up a storm. I see we've already had a wee bit of money as well for Dells Abeil, so I'm keen to have a little bit of a stab just with that safety net of the bonus back cash. Yeah,
okay, it's Steve. Race 4 for you, Pookie.
Yeah, one of these horses that is striking a genuine heavy 10 for the very first time this preparation. Number 5, Ra Joyce, is in race 4, the staying rating 65. Just a bit of sense of timing, not disgracing itself over a better track at Te Rapa, etc. So, yeah, I think there's sense of timing and strikes the right track.
Okay, and I've gone race 1, Pukekohe. I know Steve's got Pukuru Gold in the 4-play to win. Just think City Girl might be worth a bit of a bonus back bet out there at $5.50. Good second last time out and gets a claim of Jess Allen. Right, we've got to get out of here, guys. Thank you, Pops, for all your efforts through the season. We love your input as always, and yeah, I'm sure we'll see you back in the new season with a refreshed leg up. Thanks, mate.
Yep, no dramas there. So, yeah, looking forward to a bit of a break myself over that winter period, and yeah, then we'll be back rocking and rolling for the new season. So, yeah, can't wait.
Paul, you claimed you wanted a break, so you'll be looking forward to the next couple of months.
Yeah, very much so, Thad. Been putting in the overtime, as you know, over the last few weeks. So I think I thoroughly deserve a break coming up very, very soon. And I will be very, very keen to come back fresh in the spring. I think we're going to have a huge season.
I think you're right about that. Thanks, Paul, for your efforts. Thank you, Steve, for all that you do.
Yeah, thanks, Thaddeus. So we're looking to come back first week of the new season, which happens to be, I think, Winter Cup on the Saturday, Grand National Carnival down at Riccarton. So that's a ripping start to kick off the new season.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Steve, for all you do. Thank you, boys. And look, thank you to Mark Wells, our producer. Thank you to everyone in the booth there, Brad Nicholson, the director. It's like herding cats here, the leg up. So it's not an easy task, and they do an excellent job, and we thank them for that. I'm sure we'll be joining them in the new season as well. And we'll also be joining you in the new season. Thank you for joining us on the leg up. We'll see you when we see you. Goodbye.